number 4 then is to make a stencil that will put a pattern that we're going to embed into the silicon. So imagine, well, let me show you. Don't even imagine, I'll show you. So here is what we call a photomask. This is the stencil, and you can see, hopefully, that light can shine through there. So let's say that this little pattern is going to show me I want a transistor here, I want a wire here, I want a resistor here, I want a capacitor. That's the stencil that we're going to make. And we're going to then, after we make the stencil, we're going to make it very small, and we're going to shine a light through it. Let me get my wafer back out here. Okay, so we take the stencil, hold it over the wafer, and remember the wafer is coated with that photographic material. So the light shines through, and where the light hits the wafer, where it's coated with that stuff, it gets very, very hard. And where there's a shadow, it stays soft. Then we'll take the wafer, and we're going to dip it in acid and scrape away all the soft parts, and what we're left with is a little raised pattern. So we're going to do this over and over and over, sometimes maybe 17, 20 different times as we build up layer after layer of material. So let me go through it one more time. We'll paint some photographic material on there, create a stencil, shine the light through, and then where the light hits, it's going to get hard. And then we scrape away the soft parts. Then we go get a different stencil that'll have a different pattern. Coat it again, shine the light through the new stencil, and then you're going to get a new pattern hardened, and you'll scrape away the soft parts. What you're going to end up with is this amazing looking wafer full of the pattern that you've just embedded. So you can see how cool this is. All the different layers are sort of shining out at you. But this is a completely processed wafer. And each of the individual little squares, that's a single computer chip. So you can see I have the same computer chip here over and over and over, printed, if you like, on this wafer using this process that I just described. Remember I promised you I'd teach you a really cool term? Here it is. It's called photolithography. Pretty cool, huh? Photolithography. I love it. What that means is this step-by-step process of layering using light and then scraping away the soft parts in order to create this amazing finished wafer. And let me show you what the size of today's wafers. I'm back. They are this big. This is about the size of the old 12-inch LPs, but this is 300 millimeters. Pretty much this is production, and I'm sure they're working on bigger ones as well, because again, if I can do 1,000 chips on here, I'm going to save a lot of money. That's what's driving us, remember, is to keep costs low, make things cheap, cheap, cheap. So when we make them big like this and put lots and lots of computer chips on, then we can save the industry a lot of money, and your iPad will cost less next year. I've got a couple really cool shots for you here. If you look under the microscope at some of these really, really small features, you'll be able to see things like this. Can you see in that little square box there? That's something that's broken. That's probably a wire or something that needed to connect down below onto the next layer, and that didn't happen. So that computer chip is broken. You can't fix that very easily. You can, but it's insane. You'd probably rather do brain surgery than try and fix a chip like this. It's too expensive. So it's very important that we get this right the first time. But that's kind of a cool picture where you can see what can happen on a grand scale. Especially imagine hooking up 1 billion transistors and you got to get every single connection exactly right. Here's another set of pictures that's pretty cool where you can actually see the layers that have been built up in these chips. These are under huge amounts of magnification so that you can see what those layers look like.